Bible tips. Don't forget to subscribe.
The story of Samuel the boy who listened to God. A special prayer. A long time ago, there was a kind and gentle woman named Hannah. She really wanted to have a baby, but she couldn't have one. Every year, she went to God's house in a place called Shiloh and prayed. One day, Hannah was crying as she prayed. She said to God, "Oh Lord, if you give me a baby boy, I promise to give him back to you to serve you all his life." God listened to her prayer and gave her a son. She was so happy. She named him Samuel, which means God has heard. Samuel served in God's house. When Samuel was still little, Hannah kept her promise. She took him to the tabernacle, God's special house, and gave him to Eli, the priest. "This is the boy I prayed for," Hannah said. "Now I give him to the Lord." Samuel stayed and helped in the tabernacle. He wore a little linen robe, like the priests. Every year, Hannah visited him and brought him a new robe she made. God speaks to Samuel. One night, while Samuel was lying in bed, he heard someone call his name. "Samuel!" He ran to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." But Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back to bed." This happened 3 times. Finally, Eli understood that it was actually God calling Samuel. So Eli said, "Next time, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" Samuel did as Eli said. When God called again, Samuel answered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." God gave Samuel a serious message about Eli's family. Samuel told Eli everything, even though it was hard. From that day, God was with Samuel, and everyone knew that Samuel was a prophet, someone who speaks for God. Samuel becomes a leader. Samuel grew up and became a strong leader in Israel. He helped the people follow God and prayed for them when they sinned. But when Samuel got old, the people said, "We want a king to rule over us, like other nations." Samuel was sad, but God said, "Listen to them. They are not rejecting you, they are rejecting me as their king." So God chose a man named Saul to be Israel's first king. At first, Saul looked like a good king. He was tall and handsome. But Saul didn't always listen to God. One day, Saul went into battle and disobeyed God's command. God had told Saul to wait for Samuel to come and offer a sacrifice, but Saul got impatient and offered the sacrifice himself. That was something only priests or prophets like Samuel were allowed to do. Samuel came just after Saul finished. He said, "You acted foolishly. You didn't keep God's command. Now your kingdom will not last." Later, God gave Saul another important instruction. "Destroy all the Amalekites and everything they have." But Saul didn't obey. He kept the best animals and let King Agag live. When Samuel arrived, Saul said, "I obeyed the Lord." But Samuel asked, "Then why do I hear sheep and cows?" Saul said, "I saved them to offer as sacrifices to God." Samuel replied, "To obey is better than sacrifice. Because you rejected God's word, God has rejected you as king." Samuel was very sad. He cried all night. God told Samuel, "I am sorry I made Saul king. He has turned away from me." Then God told Samuel, "I have chosen a new king. Go to Bethlehem, to the house of a man named Jesse. One of his sons will be the next king." Samuel was afraid. "If Saul hears, he will kill me." God said, "Take a sacrifice and say you've come to worship." Samuel obeyed. He met Jesse and his sons. The first son, Eliab, looked strong. Samuel thought, "Surely this is the one." But God said, "Don't look at his appearance. I look at the heart." Jesse brought 7 sons before Samuel, but God said no to all of them. Samuel asked, "Are these all your sons?" Jesse said, The youngest is out watching the sheep. They called for David, the youngest. He was young and had kind eyes. God said, "He is the one." Samuel took oil and anointed David, pouring the oil on his head. From that day, God's Spirit came upon David, and Samuel knew that God had chosen a new and better king. Summary of Samuel's life. Samuel was a gift from God after Hannah's prayers. He listened to God and became a prophet and judge. He warned Saul when he disobeyed and told him that God had rejected him as king. Samuel then anointed David, a shepherd boy, to be the next king. Samuel served God all his life and helped lead the people of Israel in the right way.
Hug Bucket. Don't forget to subscribe.